About a month ago, I did a video about what it means to be traditionally masculine. And then this article came across my desk, and I just decided, hey, who better to tell you about traditional femininity and the need for that to return than somebody with a little bit of a crass sense of humor. So why not delve into this stuff, right? Raising girls to be real women. Oh, sometime in the future, I will probably have kids or something like that. Who knows? Who knows exactly what the future will hold? It just is all predicated on finding myself, well, a real woman. Not like these modern thoughts that are running around that are just degenerate in and of themselves. Maybe it involves going to a different country. Maybe it involves a multitude of different factors to be out there. But I know what I'm looking for. No offense to any of the girls currently in the situation, but they got a long way to go. We can just go ahead and say that. And they're learning. I know what I like. I know what a vast majority of men like, so why not try to critique this stuff? Because there was quite a few critiques about the traditional masculinity, about what a bunch of tradcons want to go out there and push, okay? Basically, they want to build better betas. They want to make men better, more masculine for the benefit of women. I'm just out here saying you should become a better man for yourself, and then when you become a better man for yourself, women will become attracted to that, and it'll be a byproduct of your success, not the entire purpose behind your success. So, what are they trying to push here when it comes to femininity? I recently wrote an article providing some forgotten tips on how to raise boys to be real men. I don't know any home quest, like, okay, just, it's kind of like dating advice. Women give awful dating advice for women and for men as well. It's just atrocious stuff. You can find some of it out there. If you want a good belly laugh, you can sure as heck find it. But boys aren't the only sex that we need help raising. Boys are getting sucked into a feminist vortex of our culture. Okay, she's hitting all of the talking points. We'll see where this goes. But that vortex also is swallowing up girls and perhaps an even greater frequency. Yeah, because they become the pivot point, the focal point of society. It's been that way for 60, 70 years at this point. So how do we raise our girls to be real women? Stop asking those questions. You can start rattling around some pots and pans. The kind who are loving, gentle, kind, instead of brazen, brash, and self-centered. I like you pointing that stuff out. Could be onto something here. So for some insight, I turned to one of my most famous mothers in all of literature. Marmee March from Louisa May Alcott's Little Women. Oh, okay. I've heard of that. Maybe the movie, maybe not the book. I don't know. In a conversation with her two oldest daughters, Meg and Jo, Marmee lays out her plan for raising and launching her daughters into the world. A plan that's a far cry from the feminist one we commonly hear today. No, the one that you subsist in and exist in, regardless of what your perceptions of it are. It's just that those are the facts that are right now. Marmee's first advice revolves around existential qualities. As she declares, she wants her daughter to be beautiful and accomplished. These are both traits that our current society emphasizes greatly. Beauty's a little bit different. It really emphasizes sexiness, attractiveness. I'd argue beauty has been pushed to the wayside. You can be beautiful, after your epiphany phase, after 30. But accomplished? Oh yeah, you need to go out there and you need to be a boss babe. You need to be a strong, independent woman, trademark. These are both traits, that current society emphasizes. Encourage cosmetic surgery so girls can imitate the airbrushed models who appear on social media. Yeah, exactly, and get your kids off social media. There's another little tip for you. Or exhorting girls to get out there and break glass ceilings and outdo men in their education and achievements. Yeah, you're already winning because 60% of people in college or higher learning in general are female, and 75% of the graduates are female. So I'd say not only break glass ceilings and outdo men, you're doing it at the expense of men. But given other clues in Little Women, I would wager that the beauty Marmee would have us instill in girls today is a beauty of true femininity. Yeah, not showing everything off and, dressing at least modestly. How about that? She would train our girls to dress modestly, but not in a frumpy fashion. No, exactly. There's a difference. Okay, because leftists, feminists that are out there, they would have you believe that a bikini or whatever somebody wants to wear, some skin tight nude adjacent dress that whatever common thought is running around with is all fine and well as long as you feel good. Or the tradcons that are out there that just say that sundresses and big floppy hats, that'll just go ahead and obfuscate from the fact that there are a few other things that are flopping around right now. But back to this. To put on a skirt or a dress that is tight enough to show that you're a woman and loose enough to show that you're a lady, as Academy Award-winning costume designer Edith Head once said. I'd agree with that. That's pretty straight on. Marmee would also have us teach her girls to polish their talents, ladies, not so that they can lord them over men, but they can use them to help and support those around them. I agree with that, exactly. It's not about outdoing anybody else, it's about being supportive. It's about complimenting. How about that? Cultivate internal character. All right. Here's where we get to those tangibles. Because again, men are always just going to be attracted first and foremost, okay? In order for you to get into the relationship door, as it were, you need to have a physical connection that's there, okay? You can't be a disaster, okay? You got to put in an effort to some level, as it were. But then here's another thing that men will do, okay? If you look a certain way, if you're looking hot, if you're looking fast, if you're looking loose, you're immediately going to be put into one category. Now, if you're looking attractive, and it's like, whew, that's pretty bad right there out in the distance, okay? You get potentially put in one category, unless, of course, you can go out there and prove that you're worthy, that you have those intangibles that are out there. So which ones are they talking about? Moves from external characteristics to internal characteristics, mentioning that she wants her daughters to be good and respected, to be happy, beloved, and contented, and avoid being without self-respect and peace. Exactly, okay? Friendly, feminine, and I think the old Kevin Samuels saying used to be submissive. I would go with deferential. I think that's a little bit more of a palatable term, and also implies that if it's just some ancillary decision that needs to be made, feel free to go ahead and make that for yourself. But if it's some bigger overarching concern, giving that deference to the leader in the relationship, the man, you know, that is always present. I would appreciate that a little bit more. Marmee knows that building character takes time and that parents themselves need to start early to model good character and work on fighting their own flaws, in Marmee's case, her quick temper. And she wants to ensure that her daughters live good and respectable lives. Exactly. Don't be combative. Don't be disagreeable. Nobody wants that. Remember those two categories I was just initially talking about? You immediately get put into the, what's the nicest way to put that? Pumped and dumped category. Teaching our girls to be happy and contented means not spoiling them with material goods or giving into every demand, but rather teaching them to be grateful for what they do have. Exactly. Steer them away from materialism. Couldn't agree with you more. But my love language is gifts. Ugh. In conjunction with being grateful, Marmee also teaches her girls not to be materially minded, exhorting them not to marry for money or seek to land a splendid house. Well, that's where you'd have to update for current day, okay? Because everybody has money, okay? Everybody that's alluring from a female lens has money. They don't see the average man. The average man doesn't exist. The average man has a awful existence, but the average man is the average man for a reason, because he doesn't want to be achieving. He doesn't want to be striving. What is alluring for a woman? What is attractive to a woman? Somebody with ambition, somebody with drive, somebody who is accomplished, somebody who is a leader of men. If somebody embodies all of those characteristics, they, by virtue of that, have some sort of wealth accrued. And men being on their game, well, attractive men to attractive women are going to have a certain amount of wealth. So, not saying that that should be the ultimate goal. You know, gold digging, the most extreme examples of that. Every girl's a gold digger. If I'm to steal a line from Myron from Fresh and Fit, every girl's a gold digger. Some are just better at hiding the shovels than others. What do I mean by that? What does he mean by that? Extrapolate on that, okay? Like those characteristics that I was describing of the desirable man, okay? What does that just all entail? Well, that means that you either have money, you're on your way to making money, or you have, yes, that golden word, potentiality. So some women are betting on that horse that's running that track, that he's going to be a winner at the end of the day. She's betting her youth, her beauty, her fertile years, that her long-term bet, her hope for a successful life, her hope for long-term security is eventually going to pay off on that winner that's out there. So yeah, you just kind of got to update that for the current day. Marrying for money isn't as much of a temptation in our day as it might have been in the 1800s. Oh, there's the update. All right, but chasing after material things is the same. Whether married or single, women are constantly told that they must have it all. Really, Because I would argue that most men today, don't care about your job, your fancy house, your fancy car, regular vacations, or exotic places. We would actually prefer that you don't have any of those. Okay, that really doesn't much matter. Okay, as long as you're not a pain in the ass, we can work on the rest of that stuff. It really doesn't much matter. If you want our daughters to be real women, then we must teach them that Marmee teaches her girls. Money is a needful and precious thing, and when well used, a noble thing. But I never want you to think about it. I think that it is first or the only prize to strive for. Yeah, but it's an awful good indication whether or not that's going to be a successful person, because guess what? Nobody's stumping for living in a cardboard box. Pursue good family relationships. What do you mean by this? When Marmee doesn't want her girls to pursue excessive amounts of money, she does want them to pursue good relationships, particularly within the family. Mother is always ready to be your confidant, father to be your friend, she tells Meg and Joe, exhorting them to make their own childhood home happy before they leave it for homes of their own someday. Exactly. And unlike men, it's totally fine if you meet a girl and she lives at home with the parents, okay? If they all live in a happy, healthy household, I would consider that a big W, because girls that live by themselves, ooh, that's a bit of a red flag. Or if they live with a bunch of roommates, again, ooh, big old red flag for a multitude of reasons. And if this was on the main channel, we might get a little more graphic. But we're over here. And that's another sign of a quality woman, quality characteristics. Also, that her parents are together. And then, simply, as a woman, here's just a little bit of advice. Don't know if they'll get into it or not. But women, if you're looking for a long-term mate that's out there, you should be involving some men who have absolutely no sexual interest in you at all whatsoever. Your father, your brother, your cousin, somebody who is not trying to influence your decision based on their own desires, as it were, because they're wanting the best for you in an altruistic sense. Our daughters would benefit from a similar lesson. Today's world often encourages them to make friends with and confide in anyone other than their parents, but good relationships with mom and dad provides them with wise confidants and a supportive structure for the future, whether that future involves college, a career, or raising family of their own. Exactly. Teach them to be marriage-minded. Marriage-minded, you're going to be coming up against a whole bunch of resistance in today's day and age. I would argue, I would add a little caveat, be long-term relationship-minded, okay? Be a good long-term girlfriend. Be somebody who's just going to stick around. That's what guys appreciate. Just saying. The most prominent message Marmee gives her girls revolves around marriage. Notes her desires that their daughters be well and wisely married, and encourage them to hope for and prepare themselves for such a position. To be loved and chosen by a good man is the best and sweetest thing which can happen to a woman. Fucking absolutely based. And sincerely hope for my girls may know this a beautiful experience, she says. Even non-feminists may feel a scream rising in their throat at that declaration, and for the ideas that girls should just settle down and get married. Yeah, but I don't care about them. You can barely hear them complaining over the amount of cats that are off in the distance. Can they even screech out any words out of the, boxes and boxes of stacks of cheap grocery store wine? Does anybody really care what they have to say? But Marmee puts her finger on the very thing that has caused men to wonder where all the real women are. Namely, many contemporary women aren't marriage-minded. Raising a marriage-minded woman is a challenging task, but the most effective way to do so is for parents to model a good marriage for their daughter. Exactly. Given the fact that most kids today in the United States, 40% of the time are born to a single mother, so there is no good structure. There is no relationship for them to model anything after, because they've never known stability in their life. And I understand that this is out of the control of the daughter in this situation, but can be the break sometimes. Sucks to suck. Teach her to love children and respect men, instead of bashing both groups and continually railing about the problems each brings to women. And finally, make sure that she doesn't view marriage with rose-colored glasses, but she views it as a worthy calling. Is hard work? No, not if you have clearly defined roles in the relationship. It shouldn't be hard work all the time, okay? I'm just going to go ahead and bust that stereotype, because you're not exactly, giving any hope for, or any guidance really to women. This is kind of just a vacuous, you should be marriage-minded, okay? You should pursue good relationships. Well, okay, raising good women, okay? So what does that ultimately mean, okay? If you want to be a good woman in today's day and age, don't be posting thirst traps on social media. media. Case in point, nobody's going to take you seriously that way. That's one to immediately get rid of. Or even just, hey, if you're not using it for your business or any sort of pointed purpose, don't be on social media, okay? Because guys value inexperience, women value experience. Simple as that. Don't be abrasive. Don't be combative. How about that? Stick up for what you believe in, but you don't need to be snarky. You don't need to be snippy. You don't need to be nagging all the time. You need to be supportive, especially of a good man, okay? This is all caveated for somebody that you actually want a long-term relationship with, somebody that is actually a winner that is out there. You don't need to be submissive. You don't need to be deferential. You don't need to be any of these things to somebody who is unworthy of that. You don't just see somebody walking down the street and going, that's my guy right there. I'm not calling for that at all. That is absolutely ludicrous, and that is something that is never, ever, ever going to work out for anybody. But if you find that good man, you need to be that good woman for him. Because men and women are better together than they are apart. They are complementary. And again, hey, you're not even just outside of saying that, oh yes, you should be dressing appropriately. Also, much as society wants to push it right now, okay, nobody likes fat girls, okay? There's joke decals for vehicles, for big jacked up trucks, okay? There's jokes about no fat chicks for a reason, okay? Because intrinsically, nobody likes somebody whose blood type is Prego. Nobody wants that type of stuff. And especially guys who are concerned about a long-term relationship, and women are as well. You want a healthy partner. You don't want somebody who's coming in already sweating before there's any activity that requires sweating. And then also on top of that, have a good nature, okay? Laugh stuff off. I don't want to give away all of my little hints that I can spot a good girl on, but one of the things that's very popular or a very easy green flag for me to spot, if there's a conversation and the immediate response for something that is a comment or a point that is raised, that if a girl responds instead of just immediately combatively, if she just chuckles and tries to laugh some stuff off, that is more attractive than any micro bikini that you could ever put on. And lingerie is totally overrated, but that's just as an aside. So there is what some trad cons will think about what it means to be a feminine in today's day and age. And then just somebody who's out here on the market, somebody who is sourcing girls, okay? What I look for, okay? What I would consider to be, as much as you can be, a high value woman that's out there, because they're going to tell you the actual details of the stuff that are out there in the game. There's my little ads on top of that. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Coswell. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.